My name is Kendra Quachi. I'll be reciting an excerpt from Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens from Book 4, Chapter 15, and this is when Bradley and Rider Hood get into an argument and they end up drowning each other in the river. I'll start now. Rider Hood had kept his chair all night. In the earlier part of the night, he had muttered twice or thrice that it was bitter cold, or that the fire burnt fast when he got up to mend it. But, as he could elicit from his companion neither sound nor movement, he had afterwards held his peace. He was making some disorderly preparations for coffee when Bradley came from the window and put on his outer coat and hat. "Hadn't us better have a bit of breakfast afore we start?" said Rider Hood. "It ain't good to freeze an empty stomach, master." Without a sign to show that he heard, Bradley walked out of the lock-house, catching up from a table a piece of bread, and taking his bargeman's bundle under his arm. Rider Hood immediately followed him. Bradley turned towards London. Rider Hood caught him up and walked at his side. The two men trudged on, side by side in silence, full 3 miles. Suddenly, Bradley turned to retrace his course. Instantly, Rider Hood turned likewise, and they went back side by side. Bradley re-entered the lock-house. So did Rider Hood. Bradley sat down in the window. Rider Hood warmed himself at the fire. After an hour or more, Bradley abruptly got up again and again went out, but this time turned the other way. Rider Hood was close after him, caught him up in a few paces, and walked at his side. This time, as before, when he found his attendant not to be shaken off, Bradley suddenly turned back. This time, as before, Rider Hood turned back along with him. But not this time, as before, did they go into the lock-house, for Bradley came to a stand on the snow-covered turf by the lock, looking up the river and down the river. Navigation was impeded by the frost, and the scene was a mere white and yellow desert. "Come, come, master," urged Rider Hood at his side. "This is a dry game, and where's the good of it? You can't get rid of me, except by coming to a settlement. I am going along with you wherever you go." Without a word of reply, Bradley passed quickly from him over the wooden bridge on the lock gates. "Why, there's even less sense in this move than the other," said Rider Hood, following. "The ware's there, and you'll have to come back, you know." Without taking the least notice, Bradley leaned his body against the post in a resting attitude, and there rested with his eyes cast down. "Being brought here," said Rider Hood, gruffly, "I'll turn it to some use by changing my gates." With a rattle and a rush of water, he swung back to the lock gates that were standing open before opening the others. So, both sets of gates were, for the moment, closed. "You'd better by far be reasonable, Bradley Headstone, master," said Rider Hood, passing him, "or I'll drain you all the drier for it, when we do settle." "Ah, would you?" Bradley had caught him round the body. He seemed to be girdled with an iron ring. They were on the brink of the lock, about midway between the two sets of gates. "Let go," said Rider Hood, "or I'll get my knife out and slash you whenever I can cut you. Let go." Bradley was drawing to the lock edge. Rider Hood was drawing away from it. It was a strong grapple and a fierce struggle, arm and leg. Bradley got him round with his back to the lock and still worked him backward. "Let go," said Rider Hood. "Stop! What are you trying at? You can't drown me. Ain't I told you that the man as has come through drowning can never be drowned? I can't be drowned." "I can be," returned Bradley, in a desperate, clenched voice. "I am resolved to be. I'll hold you living and I'll hold you dead. Come down." Rider Hood went over into the smooth pit backward, and Bradley Headstone upon him. When the two were found lying under the ooze and scum behind one of the riding gates, Rider Hood's hold had relaxed, probably in falling, and his eyes were staring upward. But he was girdled still with Bradley's iron ring, and the rivets of the iron ring held tight.